Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Troy here for another episode of Troy Life. This episode will be about something that is affecting a lot of people in our country today, which is, losing their job and layoffs. And I'm only here to talk about layoffs because I don't get fired. I only know about layoffs, and there are differences between layoffs and getting fired. Um, I ended up getting laid off from what I thought. Well, no, what I really still think is my dream job. And it wasn't something I expected. It wasn't something that anybody prepared me for. And it's honestly still something, although it happened a while ago, that I am still dealing with internally. Because there's just things that you think, you're like, did they lay me off while they were doing mass layoffs because they were trying to get rid of me anyway? Or was I just a casualty of war? And I know a lot of people probably feel that way because, as I said, layoffs are happening everywhere in every industry. So I wanted to talk to you guys about that and my experience and how I'm dealing with getting laid off from a job that I thought was my dream job. Dream job. Stay with it. I feel like I was so affected because this is what I thought was my dream job. What does that mean? I was happy going to work. I've had jobs before and I used to dread it. I used to dread having meetings. I used to dread having one-on-ones with people, but I really enjoyed the job and I really enjoyed the work that I was doing there because of course it was in music, but it also was like such a way to storytell telling music. And y'all know I love to tell my stories. Y'all don't see me on YouTube a few times, and sometimes I told stories that I shouldn't tell, but whatever. But it made it my dream job because I was actually happy to work on the projects I was working on, as well as working with the people that I was working with. And so to not only lose your colleagues, but also to lose what you were working on was very hard for me. And everybody knows I love music. Everybody knows I love discovering new music. And to be able to get paid to do that, and then the next day you're being told, like, hey, you can't do that no more. We're having a mass layoff was very, I don't want to say traumatic because that's kind of dramatic, but it definitely was very jarring. Like, nobody wants to get that invite that says, HR meeting because I got the meeting, I got the invite like, oh, HR meeting. I'm like, Lord Jesus, what I done said to somebody, and they're like, no, it's not that. It's just that we're letting a whole bunch of people go. And I want to reiterate that I was laid off and I was not fired. There's a difference. The biggest part, I'm gonna be honest, of why this job that I was laid off of was totally different for me is that I actually like the people that I worked with. Not saying I didn't like the people that I worked with before, but I would actually go to like their birthday parties and their weddings and all that great stuff because I actually really liked the people that I worked with, which also made getting laid off a lot harder. From what I was told, and I believe them, it was like when it was announced in the team meeting, everybody was crying because they were like, "No, not LaTroy, not LaTroy." But I bet you they wasn't crying when they got home because they was like, "At least it was LaTroy and not me." So I think that was the hardest part of losing my job was because I liked the people and it made it harder for me because when you like people just in general, not even just at a job, just in life, it's hard to lose them and it's hard to go from somebody that you see every day to somebody that you don't see at all anymore. I found out that I had lost my job and got laid off. My first step was, what does my severance look like? Because again, that's the difference between being fired and being laid off is that they got to give you a coin, to let you go. And my first thought being laid off and getting what my severance would be was how long can I live off of what they're giving me? And it also became a point of, it was, um, I I guess I could say was fear. It was fearful. You go from having a everyday job to now having a lump sum of money to figure out what to do. But the thing about life is you never know what's going to come your way. So when you have a job, every week or every 2 weeks or what have you, you have this check coming in. But once you get laid off and you have this severance, emergencies pop up. Like my car just got messed up. It's like $2,500 for a transmission. Who got that? And then rich people like Jay-Z, they'll tell you, oh, you're supposed to have what 3 6 months of savings. Bitch, ain't nobody got that. So that was my first thought was how long can I make this severance last? And then my second thought was, do I want to go back to corporate America because of what happened? When you work for yourself, like I do now, I can't lay myself off. I can't fire myself. But in corporate America, there's always that uncertainty that you might get fired, you might get laid off, you could get a demotion. And that was, it kind of still is my struggle about going back to corporate America is that everything is really in somebody else's hands. And you could be the best at your job. And I mean, I wouldn't I don't want to be narcissistic and say I was the best, but I was really damn good at my job and still got laid off. So that is something that even now I'm still trying to navigate and figure out. Like, what is my next step? Do I want to go back to corporate America? Do I want to continue to do the freelance thing, which is so unpredictable? It's like 1 minute you're like, oh, I got a great check. And then 3 or 4 months go by and, you eating sandwiches and ramen noodles and, you're not going out to the club as much. Your friends like, oh, you want to go out? You're like, oh, no, I don't feel good. Bitch, I feel fine. I just ain't got the money. When I really sat down and realized what had happened, there was just a lot going on at that time. Like I had just gotten back from London to do scoring for a film called Ultraman that I was working on. I was also flying back and forth because of the Love and War tour was going on at that time. And when everything happened, I didn't really have time to process what really was going on. It was like a firestorm, and it all happened very quickly and very drastically. And I feel like I still carry that energy with me of everything being so drastic and not ever really getting a chance to get over one thing to get over the other thing. And I have days where I just don't feel like it. And when I say don't feel like it, I just don't feel like it at all. I don't feel like dealing with anything because it's aimless job interviews. It's 1,000 resumes being sent out. It is, how they be like, oh, upload your resume and then ask you to fill out the same shit that's on your resume. Like it's literally what you asked me that for. Um, but on good days, I enjoy the freedom. I enjoy what I'm able to build and do. Like even doing this show and doing based on a Troy story, I'm not sure that I would be able to do that if I was still at a traditional company. So on the better days, I feel like, okay, here I am getting closer to being the next Kim Kardashian. But on the bad days, I I have you could feel very low, especially when you look at people that you worked with and they're still there. And in your head, you're like, well, why am I not still there? But those are the lower days. But on the better days, I'm like, oh, middle of the day, let's go to the beach. Well, I don't really go to the beach. I go to the bar. I don't know why by the line say I go to the beach. Y'all know I don't go to no beach. But in the middle of the day, I have that freedom. If I want to fly to Atlanta tomorrow, I can do that without any having to use PTO or getting it approved by anybody. So on a good day, I appreciate the freedom, which is crazy because on the bad day, I miss the I was about to say slavery, but that's kind of deep. But on a bad day, I miss the structure and I miss like being held accountable and having something to actually work on daily that I know will be a benefit. And I'm such an entertainment person. I love to entertain. Again, this is why I'm doing this. So on a low day, I miss that. I miss the opportunity to be able to just be a part of something that's going to entertain people. One of the craziest things is, well, I don't even know if it's crazy. If they called me and was like, "Hey, LaTroy, the company's giving us more budget to build up the music team again. Do you want to go back, baby?" I would be there before everybody else was there. I'd be there first thing Monday morning. Like I would be there because that's how much I enjoyed my job and I enjoyed the people that I worked with. But to be quite honest and transparent, I don't see that happening because, well, also think about it from a point of like maternal and paternal leave. A lot of people leave for a while, but I just don't know that as much as I say I would go back, how comfortable I would be because you kind of start to feel again, this is just in your feelings after everything's gone on. um am I like dispensable? And when you walk into somewhere thinking, oh, am I dispensable, like it's like making the band, right? It's like, oh, they can get rid of me at any point they want to. It's like making the band. You know, you kind of feel like, oh, well, if you got rid of me once, you can get rid of me again. So as much as I would love to go back to that job and to work with my colleagues. And again, I keep saying that because a huge part of why I enjoyed that job was my colleagues. I would want to go back, and I say I would go back, and I would run back. I just don't know that it would be the same. And to other people in that same situation, I don't really know what your situation is, but if you were called back and it made sense, go back. Go back, but also remember that just as they treated you as being, uh, something that can go away, you remember that job can go away too. So always be looking for the next job. And that is the biggest mistake I think I made is I was not looking for the next job. I was like, oh my God, I'm so happy. I love this job. I'm getting promoted. They're flying me to London for this. And I'm like, I'm in here. Like, love all ages, we in here. But I didn't have a backup plan. So that is what I would say, even if you're employed right now, right? Is be prepared to get laid off. And if you're not a good employee, then be prepared to get fired. And that was one thing that I did not do was make sure that I had a backup plan just because I was so happy. And I think that would be one of the major things that I changed is making sure that I had a backup plan and that I was able to move on and move differently if this, which did happen, happened.
Has being laid off made you more of a risk taker or more fearless with your career?
Hold on, let me take this. Um, no, I had to hand me a little piece of cocktail. Um, was being laid off maybe more fearless. Mm. The one, I guess, kind of great thing besides the severance, I keep telling y'all, make sure y'all get y'all severance, okay? Because the money is there. They act like it ain't, but it's there. Um, I think that being laid off and being laid off for an extended amount of time has made me be, as far as professionally, more tenacious, as well as more fearful, but fearful in a good way, because I know that in the next position that I'm in, and even like I said, I'm working for myself now. I have to go out and hustle because I'm scared that that's going to happen to me again, and I'm scared like that when my severance was running out, baby, that's a scary thing. And then I think it started running out around the holiday. I said, "Oh, baby, I'm trying to get on the plane with Dwayne because I don't know what was happening. Like, what are you supposed to do when you go again from making a great amount of money to having to live off of a severance?" But as much as that made me fearful, and as much as that made me kind of disappointed that I was let go, I now, in the back of my mind, actually in the front of my mind, know that it's okay to be scared to lose your job because there's a very big possibility that you might lose your job. So there's definitely a feeling, an essence of fear now moving forward, especially if I go back to corporate America, because there's always this things like, oh, if you die today, then your job will be posted tomorrow, which I really believe. So fear is definitely something in my career that I now have. I just think that it is more of a healthy fear, to just prepare myself for the future. I was actually really, really surprised about the um, what is it called? The response that I got once people found out that I got laid off. The amount of people and the caliber of people, I mean, you're talking from CEOs to managers to coordinators to freelancers, all reaching out to me saying, like, wow, we can't believe that they let you go. Like, LaTroy, we love you. And then again, like I said, my colleagues, my actual team, they were crying that I got laid off. That to me was a positive thing I took away, because people don't really, like, nobody cries when somebody gets laid off unless they really care about them. And they still invite me to things. I still see them. I went to their offices like a month or so ago to visit and say hey. So I think one of the the huge positive thing of this is being able to know that I was valued. You'll still have that thing in the back of your head where you're like, was I really valued, or was that just something that they said? But I really do think that those people liked me, and I really like those people. And if those people didn't like me, then I ain't like y'all neither. No, but I just think that positively looking at everything, it lets me know how important it is to leave an impact, and how important it is to treat people right, and how important it is to not give your all to your work, because you can't give your all to your work because you never know what's going to happen, but to be good at the work that you're doing. And that's the positive thing for me as far as being laid off, is the fact that people actually acknowledged my worth. And that's what made me feel better when I had the question of, am I being laid off just because this is now a time to lay me off slash fire me, or is it a true layoff? And I feel like, yeah, I really got laid off. Hopefully that's what it is, in the name of Jesus. I got my severance, so I don't know. I know I've talked a lot about, um, you know, the actual layoff, because layoffs are not fun. They're not fun for anybody. And I've said some good things that came out of it and some bad things that come out of it. I think I just want to speak directly to the people that are in it, and not just to them, but who knows? People are getting laid off left and right because that man putting tariffs on everything. I swear he put tariffs on haircuts, because I don't know how my barber got so expensive. Um, but I would say, if you're going through a layoff, if you're going through a time where you are uncertain about your career, I think I said this before. Make sure you're being proactive. Make sure that you have more loyalty to yourself than the company, and make sure that if you feel there might be a shift in the culture in your company, that you listen to that, and that you listen to your heart and to your colleagues and to the energy in the building. And there's always a job for you out there. It's just very hard to find it. So I would say start early. If you feel that things are changing and things might not be the way that they were, start early. Start being, again, proactive. Start talking to people. Make sure that you're networking with people. Make sure that you're networking with people at the company and other departments. Make yourself known. Um, and then and if you do get laid off, I would say take some time for yourself. Uh, Enjoy, I would say, about like a week of your severance to kind of just blow away. It'll make you feel better. Trust me, I have a whole shoe closet of severance money. But if you make sure that you give yourself some time, give yourself some vacation time, even if you don't have a job, give yourself some vacation time, and then just jump back into it. And it might take a while, it might take a long time, but you'll never be able to get somewhere else unless you start. So that's really been my journey. Is that it came out of nowhere for me. I actually really liked my job and really loved my colleagues. But at the end of the day, business is business. And if you have gotten laid off or you feel like you're about to get laid off, just make sure that you're proactive and that you do your best to move forward. And that's what I had to do, and that's what I'm doing. And if you got to start your own company like I did, because the jobs weren't there, and look, the jobs weren't there, but the rent was there. I had to figure out how I was going to make that happen and how I was going to make it flirt to a hearse and a throwback skirt. And and so that is what I would tell everybody is especially in this climate, just be prepared. Like they said in the Lion King, be prepared because you never know what's going to happen. But I just do want to leave with the fact that, everybody always says it's going to get better. Your next job is coming, your dream job is coming, and that's great. And I totally agree with that. But I also want you to know that life is real, that responsibilities are real. And again, prepare yourself for what might happen because it'll make it easier to transition into the next phase of your life. And although it's been a minute that I've been trying to figure out what I'm doing with my life, if I didn't start back when I started trying to figure things out, I'd be far behind. So just start. If you got laid off, that's the best opinion I can give you is to just start. I don't know what the start is. I don't know if the start is looking for a new job or starting a company or start to move to another city or whatever. Just start. Just start doing something. I mean, it's going to be hard at first. It was hard for me at first. There were a lot of days in bed that I didn't get up. But just start. You got to start somewhere. So if you've been laid off, even if you got fired, this has been a layoff video because I don't know about being fired. I don't get fired. But even if you've gotten fired, just start somewhere and hopefully it leads to the next best thing. You never know. I'm not going to be a person that lies to you and says that, it's going to be great, but just start. That's what I would say. So if you've been laid off, just start whatever you can in the name of Jesus. And thank y'all for watching another episode. I think this is the second one of Troy Life, and then a new episode based on Troy's story is coming. But yeah, this is my truth of being laid off and how it's affected me. And hopefully, Larry, this video helps y'all, if you're going through this too, in the name of Jesus.